Hey, my name's Nefe. We're at Collective Arts Brewery, and this is Beers with Bands.
Hey there, thanks for joining
Hello.
us.
Nice to be here.
What are you drinking today?
Right now, I'm drinking the Fudgesicle Stout.
Awesome, and I got the Guava Goza, the Collective Arts.
Ooh.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
About myself.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a musician.
Where are you from?
I'm from Guelph, Ontario.
Guelph.
We call it the G spot. It's a little, but it's true. Yeah, and I'm a musician, and I like to play music and drink beer. So this is awesome that we're here today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any cool spots back in your hometown of Guelph that you would
Guelph.
recommend people to hit up for beer
Ooh.
choices?
Well, I've been living in Toronto for a while,
Oh,
but
okay.
there is a new brewery in Guelph called Brothers Brewery, I believe.
Okay.
And it's like two brothers that came together and started a really awesome brewery downtown Guelph.
Okay.
Which is, yeah, it's cool.
Cool. And then on the flip side of that, so since you're in Toronto now, what would a
Toronto.
spot be in Toronto that you would recommend?
I'd say Kensington Brewery.
Yeah.
KB,
One of your
yeah,
favorites?
that's a go-to spot.
Yeah.
Also, Beltwoods is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Talking about beers,
Beers.
do you remember the first beer you ever had?
oh man. So I
If
remember.
you can take it back.
I remember I used to work in a kitchen when I was like 13. I worked for my cousin.
Okay.
And at the end of the shift, they would have a beer, and they were like, "Oh, this is so refreshing. This is great." And I was like, "Beer's gross. Like, can I?" Like, I remember taking a sip, and he was like, "One day,
Yeah.
you're gonna taste a beer and figure out how refreshing that is."
Yeah.
And now I'm there, and I just, with my first beer, yeah, I must have been
A few
young,
years ago.
stealing like the parents' beers out of the fridge and
Whatever they had.
running. Yeah.
Yeah. And then what about first CD that you ever bought?
First CD. So the story goes like this. My cousin, I had a Super Nintendo when I was younger, and my uncle lived with me, and he was like this like grunger dude, like really
Okay.
lived on the edge. He was like, "I'll trade you your Super Nintendo for $10 and an Ozzy Osbourne CD." And I was like, "Oh, okay,
Ah.
sold, like done." Now I regret it, but Ozzy Osbourne, that was my first CD. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then what about first concert? Do you remember the first concert you ever been to?
Was Yellow Card in Guelph.
What's
that
your
was
favorite
the-
song?
Oh, Ocean Avenue.
Me too.
Of course, of
Yeah,
course.
the best.
Yeah.
So what are you listening to a lot of lately?
Ooh.
Anything that's influencing your music in any
right
way?
now, and I've been in love with Fleetwood Mac for time. Fleetwood Mac and like Blood Orange, but Fleetwood Mac is my go-to. Bob Dylan as well. I've
Yeah.
kind of went back in time instead of like finding new artists. If there's any new artists, holler. But yeah.
And then drinking a lot of. What's your go-to drink?
My go-to, I like a good bone shaker.
Yeah.
Every
Amsterdam?
now and then, Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Yeah, bone shaker. Or if I want to get a little fruity, I go for Belgian Moon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or I appreciate a great stout.
Yeah.
I like the Woodhouse dark stouts.
Yeah.
Those are nice.
So if you could brew a beer
Okay.
and you're going to name it after one of your songs
Ooh.
and throw in any kind of secret ingredient that pertains to yourself,
Okay.
what would it be?
Well, I love stouts with like a nice strong coffee flavor.
Yeah.
So I would say I would name it after one of my songs called Moonlight, where it's like, like after the moonlight, you wake up and you stay up all night, and then
It's a great
you
concept.
drink coffee, and it's like I would name the beer Moonlight.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then where can everybody find you across the boards?
You can find me on Spotify or Facebook, Twitter, at Nefe Nefe Music.
And then anything coming up next for you at all?
I'm playing at the Paddock tomorrow, which is the June 15th, which is a little.
A little soon.
But August 3rd, you can
Yeah.
catch me at Hughes Room
Okay. And where's that?
in Toronto.
In Toronto.
Yes.
You can find us on YouTube at BeerX and on Instagram and Twitter, Beers Bands. Thanks.
Boom.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
So we can like do a little jig and it's gonna make it in there.